Y'all tell me, what is the sign of a good tree guy? The sign of a good tree guy, to me, one of the biggest signs of a good tree guy is a guy that knows when you're out of his league. All right, y'all, what's up? Tuesday morning, they're calling for rain, so we didn't work today. I got a guy that's texting me from Moreland. It's about a 20-minute ride from here, 15-minute ride from here, something like that. And I talked to him yesterday, and it's a tree job. I've done work for him before. I haven't done work at this particular location, but I've done some work for him back in the day when I had a stump grinder, and I took a few trees out for him back then. So, he's wanting me to take a tree out, and so I asked him last night, how big is it? Is the ground flat around it? One of the first things you want to ask somebody when they're doing it, when you're going to look at a tree job, to even see if it even qualifies for you going and maybe doing it. Well, one of the number one thing for me with a man lift, other than the size of the tree, obviously, is once I get to the point of where, okay, the size of the tree I can do, the next very important question is the ground flat around the tree. That's pertinent, because I know I might make the man lift look easy. That's because I own it and I've used it a lot. There's a lot of factors you got to think when you're doing tree work with the man lift. It's got to be the ground's got to be pretty flat. If it's not flat, the man lift won't work. Anyway, so this tree, he said, is about 35 foot high. It's got he didn't take a picture of it. It's got two branches, two trunks. He said they're rotten. So that's, well, you got to factor that in. He said, well, not only did he say they're rotten, he said it's hollow. A lot of it's hollow. So that you really got to start factoring things in. So my dilemma is this. And of course, if it rains, it doesn't matter. He can meet me over there at 1:30. And I don't have to haul it off. He just wants to get it down, because it's close to a structure, a house, or something. But he said you can pull right up to it. It's all flat. I'm just going through some of the things that I think about when I get calls, about other work, and how I distinguish if I want to spend time looking at it or not. Number one thing with him is I've done work for him before. He was in my phone. I cannot picture his face, but I did a bunch of stumps on a rental property he had over here. So, that's one of the factors is that I know he'll pay me. Okay. The other factor is, how big is it, and can I pull up to it? Well, if it's 30, he said it's 30 to 40 feet tall. So if it's 30 to 40 feet tall, and this is not set in stone, but if it's only that tall, and it's a full tree and the top ain't been busted out of it or nothing, then the diameter of the tree's not going to be that big. I mean, it's just not. Because, well, if it's only that tall, then my man lift will take me up 35 feet easy. So if the tree is 35 feet, he said between 30 and 40, so we'll just say 35. If it's 40, it's not a big deal, because by the time I stand in the basket with a pole saw, I'm at 40 feet. So, that's one. So that's a factor. So my thinking was, well, hell, if I don't have to haul it off and I don't have to do anything with the trunk or nothing, then why not, when I go to look at it, drag the man lift out there with me, and then I can maybe do it today, right? Because if it is everything he says it is, then I could do it today at 1:30. I'm not doing anything else. Of course, the weather is a factor. If it rains, it's not going to do that. I'm not a big fan of going and looking at jobs if they're not in the thousands. I'm just not. I very rarely go look at lawn care properties to do the lawn. I mean, sometimes I will, but usually when I go to look at it, I'm going to bring the necessary tools it takes to do the job, as long as we can come to an agreement on money. Well, I guess what I'm trying to do in summation here is I'm trying to run the Bobcat man lift business the same way, efficiency-wise, as I do the lawn care. And, you can to a certain degree, but it's, well, there's a lot of factors there, and sometimes it's about what else I got going on, how busy am I, what the weather's like. Like, it's supposed to rain today. I didn't schedule anything today. So when he told me 1:30 he'd be home, I said, well, hell, I'll come out there at 1:30. If I go out there and look at it and I don't leave there with a check, then that's going to affect my number when I do put in the bid. It's going to affect my number, because I'm going to take into consideration the hour and a half that I spent for nothing. It ain't for nothing, but it's without getting a check. So, and I guess a lot of people coming in the comments, and there's a few, and they know who I'm talking about. I don't really want to call nobody out or anything, but they're saying, and I'm listening. Sometimes they come at me a little bit sideways, but they're saying that I shouldn't, like that tree yesterday, one guy was saying, well, you should have charged them $1,500 or whatever. And then I'm saying, well, then you wouldn't have got the work. Then what they're saying back to me is, well, then you just hold the equipment up until you get a job that's more profitable. Well, to me, and this is just me, and it's no harm intended or anything, that don't jive well with me, because if you sit around and waiting on the top jobs to come along, you might be waiting longer than you want to. So what I do is I flip that around, and like I said yesterday, I look at the job, I put a number out there, and then I make myself make money at that number. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. That's my specialty. Sometimes it doesn't pan out as good as, as other times, but I usually do pretty good in that scenario because of the resources as far as equipment that I own. Now, this guy's saying, well, you're leaving money on the table. Well, a lot of times you can leave a little money on the table as long as you're making up for it in volume, right? We all want to get, of course, I would love to have done that job yesterday and gotten $1,500, right? Of course. But I already knew that she wasn't willing to spend less, more than $1,000. So I wouldn't have got that job. I wouldn't have been able to put that $1,000 check in my bank account yesterday afternoon. And my equipment would have been sitting here just not doing anything. You got to weigh that if you're me. Now, and I got a disclaimer. I don't want to say you should take every job, but you should take the jobs that make sense to you based on the location and the logistics of everything, and what else you got going on at the time. I didn't have anything else going on at the time. I could have went over there and made that 1,000 in my neighborhood, in 3.5 hours, or I could have drove, 30 miles or so and done 3 $80 yards and made $240 minus fuel. I mean, so I would have made $200, and then I got to pay labor. A lot of times the work, and I know it shouldn't affect the price, but at the end of the day, it does. Supply and demand affect the price of what things are worth or what they're not worth. It does. For instance, you could probably get a lawnmower cheaper right now than you will be in May. The lawnmower is worth the same either way. It's still, we'll say, a $10,000 lawnmower. But this time of year, you might be able to get that lawnmower for $9,000 or $8,500. And I'm talking about used lawnmowers. In April, May, well, they's a damn fool to sell it to you for the same price they would sell it to you in January. So that $10,000 lawnmower might be $11,000. And it'll all be about supply and demand and the timing. See, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I look at the business the same way. The labor, the workflow the same way. If I ain't got nothing else going on, then why not go get that $1,000? Why not? I mean, any other way doesn't make sense in my hustling brain. Because any other thing that we did yesterday was gonna. I mean, I would have. I don't know that I would have profited anything by the time I pay labor, fuel, and for wear and tear. See, so that gives another day or two for another couple of lawns to build up on that particular day that I'm going to have to go out and do all those lawns that are all over the place. They're not any rhyme or reason. So I just try to apply that same concept to man lift or the Bobcat or whatever. I did not have anything more lucrative going on yesterday, so the equipment could have sat yesterday. I could have went and did $200 worth of lawns and then lost the tree job. And some of the guys that are coming in the comments, they're saying, yeah, that's what you should have done. I mean, they're telling me that straight up. You can read the comments. Or I can not do those lawns yesterday because, get this, y'all, that money ain't going nowhere. They're not going to hire nobody else to do their lawns because I am their lawn care guy. The tree job might go somewhere because she needs to get that tree down. It was pretty rotten and right close to her house. And it paid 10 times as much. See, these are business moves or business thinking that I think about, not because I'm a smart businessman, but because I'm a hustler. I'm not that smart of a businessman, but I'm a damn good hustler. And that's what you got to be first and foremost to be out here living on the land in this arena like I am, me. with where I live, what equipment I got, my age, and all that. And you got to be able to stand back a little bit and think about what it costs you to go make that $200 in lawns versus what it's going to cost you to go make $1,000 on a tree job, or not making a dime over there and the equipment just sitting another day and not making nothing. Now, you can change all that. The only thing that would make that different is if you just got bukus of man lift bobcat work. Well, then you can charge a little bit more based on your availability. And I would know that before I ever quoted. Because once I quote, it's on and popping then. I have to make it work. Because I don't fall back to an hourly rate or nothing. So, I'm just saying that I don't know if I worded this correctly. I'm sure I'm going to get somebody to come in the comments and tell me that I meant this when I really didn't, and all this. There's a lot of people that come in the comments and they don't really know me, or don't watch a lot of the videos. They watch a few, and they take things out of context. A lot of the things that I do and say in the videos are kind of geared toward people that kind of watch the channel on the reg, and they kind of know the fundamentals of where I'm coming from. They don't just take it out of context, So, the bobcat and the man lift would have just sat still yesterday and not made near a dollar if I am waiting on that lucrative job, or that, well, I made that job lucrative. See, the job, sometimes, let me just say this, sometimes the job that you may take on may not be as lucrative as you want, okay? But that's where your experience and game come into play. You make it as lucrative. You make it more lucrative than, I make jobs lucrative because of the way of my approach. And that's what you got to do. To me, yesterday at 3.5 hours for $1,000 in my neighborhood, no fuel or anything, that's a win, a big win. I could have done that job, and I know I'm gonna get some flack about it. I could have done that job for $700 and still been winning. I could have, compared to going and mowing the few lawns that I got. And with the weather being like it is, I ain't trying to go too far away from the house, because if it starts raining and you're out there and you're out there mowing grass and you're already making peanuts and it starts raining on you, well, then you're really making it, well, at that point, you're probably paying them to do it if you can't finish, because then you got to go back to do them. Over here, if it started raining yesterday, I'm good. I'll just put the man lift down, hop in the truck, and come home. A lot of factors that a lot of guys don't talk about or don't say, especially when they're commenting, that I'm not a professional storyteller, so a lot of things I just omit because I don't know that I'm not explaining things like I should. I just know this, that I'm always going to try to do my best job, always. And I'm always going to be straight up with the customer, always. And I'm always going to try to make my number a manageable number. But it's got to make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me, then I just won't do the job. And that's the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things about being self-employed, owning your own equipment. I don't have to do that job. So today at 1:30, I'm going to be going out here to Moreland. So, for instance, the number that that I would normally charge would be this number, right? And then if he says, say we'll just use $700 as I don't know, but we'll just use this as the number for this job. I go over there and I quote. I got the man lift. I got Zach with me, and I go over there and I quote it $700. And he says, "I tell you what, Ray, I'll give you $600." What I do then is I'm going to weigh what it's going to cost me to come back, right? Time, energy, effort. Zach in the truck with me, the man lift hooked to the trailer, the flat ground. All I got to do is just pull up and cut the freaking tree. Now, if I go over there by myself, no help, no man lift, no nothing, and I look at the job, and I tell him 700. So if I go over there and I'm not ready to do the job for a little job, and I tell him $700, and he says, "Well, can you do it for $6?" And then I say, "Okay." Then I got to go back home. I got to reschedule, and then I got to go back out there anyway, right? It ain't a big deal if the job's real close by, So what ends up happening in that scenario is I would have to stay at 700. See what I'm saying? Because it's going to cost me 100 to come back. Now, I'm all about passing the savings on to the customer. I might not word it like that to the customer, but they're going to get the most friendliest number. You call it lowballing or whatever you want to call it. They're going to get the most friendliest number if I don't have to come back. If it doesn't cost me as much to do the job, then I could pass some of that on to the customer. Now, if he tells me, well, I'm going to get 4 or 5 more bids and all that, well, then see, I'm not even going to want to go look at it. Especially if it's a small, $600 or $700 job. But if I go out there today with the man lift and I can do it today and I can get $600, that's better than me going out there back out there tomorrow and getting $700, because, well, tomorrow I could be chasing new money. So I'm here at the address. He said the first driveway on the right when you pull in, so this is gonna be it right here. And I'm not sure if he's here yet or not, but this tree right here looks like the one he's talking about right here. So this is why he wants it down right here.
Yes, sir.
Y'all look at that. Wow.
Yes, sir. Well, we got junk everywhere.
Well, I'm looking at it and I see, as I get older, man, I see more about what can go wrong than what can go right. You know what I mean?
Thing, don't hit the house.
Well, there's gonna be a huge amount of debris right here on this one. Huge amount of debris. It looks like a lot in the tree, don't it? As far as the limbs and when it hits the ground, it's always like 5 times more than what you see.
Probably right. You're probably.
It's going to be a huge amount.
And it's going to be worse when it's getting leaves.
Yeah.
I need it done in the winter, like right now.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't know that I want to tackle that back piece. I could do this one. Yeah. Get it down. Can you get the limbs off the top or anything? As high up as I could go, I could trim it. As high. My man lift to go up 40 feet, and then I got a pole saw or two.
That where it wires off right there on this second tree. How high is that then? Can you get that?
That would be probably right at the limit. If you get that wire right there, but there's no way to really if you control it to come down. You got to be able to control. You figure 40 feet, man. It's hard to judge though, you're right.
Yeah.
The backside. It looks scary to me. It really does, I'll be honest with you. From a contractor, tree, you know, and I'm not, you know, a big tree outfit or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but to get a big tree outfit over here to do that one side,
Yeah.
you're talking about some major money. I wouldn't be surprised, and don't quote me, I wouldn't be surprised they don't come at you with $5,000 or $6,000. Minimum,
when I got
minimum, man, minimum.
Yeah, it's been a little while. It ain't been forever, but it's been a little while though.
And I think that once you see that, then you might have to reassess.
It's probably been 2 years though.
They're extremely expensive, man.
Everything kind of went up. I know that.
Yeah.
So I figured you'd be gonna be higher than what I said.
Yeah.
But I hope not a whole lot, because you can still, you know, get it done and cheaper than other
well,
people.
they're gonna be
the great big one.
Yeah. Well,
but that guy had a boom truck and all. I mean,
yeah.
You know.
Now if he's got a boom truck, and then he's invested.
Well, looks like it goes about right here, where the hole stops on this, where you see it.
Right.
How far up after that, I don't know. Looks like it goes.
You know, the signs of a good tree guy is when he knows what not to fool with. It's dangerous, dude. I'm telling you, man. Just between me and you, if you got away, I mean, if you get away for less than $5 grand, I'll be shocked.
Really?
Shocked.
Really?
For the whole tree, especially.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're gonna spend two or three on that. I'm telling you.
Oh my
and
God.
now they might bring a chipper and chip it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as getting it, they're gonna want that much money to throw all the resources at it. I would guess.
Yeah.
Now I don't know for sure, but it's sketchy, dude. It's extremely dangerous with that hauling. They're gonna play on that too, on your pocket. If it was a solid tree, they might be a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Told him, I don't know if I got it on video or not, but these are the two pieces that they want down, and y'all see them. There's two of them back to back. Yeah, man. I can tell you right now, I'm not interested. See, I'm gonna tell y'all that tree right there is outside of my comfort zone. Just everything about it. There's just a lot of little things about that tree that there's no way that I'm gonna do it. No way. He could offer me $10,000 and I wouldn't do it. So it's a lot bigger of a tree than what he said. You're talking about major money there. And I told him that. He said that, and he's a good old boy, and I remember him now. He's real friendly, real cool, man. I remember him. He's good people, man. But when he saw that I wasn't going to do it, he was like, "Well, can we rent a big bucket truck and you do it for me?" Because he trusts me, you know. I've done a couple jobs for him, you know, in years past. But I wouldn't do that. There ain't no way. So the signs of a good tree guy is knowing what not to mess with. That ain't gonna happen, man. Not no, but hell to the no. So needless to say, that was a wasted trip. So it worked out for me not trying to do it today, because based on his description, dude, shit, it would take me 2 or 3 days to do that job. Easy, man. A straight sketch. So you gotta ask yourself, you know, if you're me, was that a wasted trip? Did that just cost me? Well, of course it cost me something. Fuel and time, but it's raining, so there's that. I don't know, man. I don't know what he's gonna do. What do y'all think that a tree company's gonna charge? I told him If he got that tree down, I told him if he got that tree down for $5,000 or less, I'd be shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked. But what do I know? All right, y'all know what it is, man. It's Sammy Tuesday.